Today at Manchester Theatres, I am with the brilliantly funny Jack Baldwin because he is coming to Lowry from the 11th of February in the must-see Jurassic Park parody, Hold On to Your Butts. Now, Jack is no stranger to comedy, having performed with Mischief Theatre in shows such as The Play That Goes Wrong and the comedy about a bank robbery, as well as Fawlty Towers' The Dining Experience. But Jack has also been in many Shakespeare shows, such as Twelfth Night, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, Henry V. So we are in very, very good company today. But we're here to talk about holding on to our butts. So Jack, thank you for joining me. And yeah, can you tell us about the concept of this show, what to expect?
Hi, thank you very much for having me. This show is it's a very funny, very silly show, and it's a loving parody of the greatest dinosaur movie ever made. I think anyone who comes to see the show will, if they're a fan of the of Jurassic Park, they'll recognise all the big moments and some of the little moments that only super fans know. Which isn't to say if you don't know the movie you won't get it. Like there's loads of really really quite almost stupid things in there just to tickle everyone's fancy, really.
And there's two of you and a Foley artist, so you have got to play all these different characters. I mean, like, where do you even start with that? Like, when you're rehearsing, I mean, physically and creating them all, where do you even start? And do you have any favourites?
Yeah, the rehearsals are hectic for this. It's just like the two of us running around all day, and Charlie the Foley just keeping up with everything and all that. I think the impressions for me when you're playing these famous characters, these Hollywood A-listers and all that, it's kind of a joy seeing how truthful you get to playing the part really accurately and honestly, because we're not trying to do it down, we're trying to build it up, and but also seeing where you can have fun with it, where certain actors certain actors have little idiosyncrasies and things that we all know and love, and seeing where you can have a little bit of fun with that it is a joy, and it is great, and then throwing stuff to the Foley artist, kind of improv, a little bit live on stage sometimes, but certainly a lot in the rehearsal room. We're trying to catch each other out almost.
So that you can continue to have fun with it as well, I suppose. And I was going to say, you do that with the audience as well. From what I've seen of trailers and things, you kind of break that fourth wall a lot. So is that to kind of keep you on your toes as well? Because you never know what's going to come back at you from an audience.
A little bit, yeah. I think also, theatre has changed so much. It's definitely in the last 10 years or so, but certainly in the last few years, since people actually being able to go to the theatre more, people want a lot more from their experience there, and a lot of shows now are becoming much more interactive or immersive. I think it really brings the audience in. You're not just sitting there watching a play happen and then afterwards you go away and discuss it, which is wonderful, and many of the greatest plays are great for that in that way. But it just is culturally at the moment, this is what people want, and where you can bring the audience in and make them part of the fun. So when I say we're sort of messing with each other on stage a little bit, it's never without the audience being fully involved. So everyone's on the same page, having fun at the same time.
It sounds so much fun, and like you mentioned about, you don't have to have seen the movie, but it can, like when you did that impression, then even just from a few noises I knew exactly who it was and what was. So does it, because you're putting that level of detail in there, does it help people to kind of, if they have seen it, they will enjoy it on a different level. You can watch the show without having seen it, but if you have seen it, there's gonna be so much more there for you.
Yeah, I think if you've seen it once, like 10, 20, 30 years ago, or 32 years ago, if you haven't seen it since it was in cinemas, I think it's worth a little refresh. I mean, it's such a well-made movie anyway that it's worth seeing again, and you remember the big standout moments, will always be fresh. But a little just, revision perhaps, but it's fun revision.
Fresh, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it just the first one it focuses on, or do you take bits from? Because obviously there's now many Jurassic Park films.
Yeah, this is just the first one. So maybe there'll be some sequels.
I was going to say, you've got scope there.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there now.
There is. And when you're staging this, like we've said, it's this multi-million-dollar franchise now, and this film's got CGI and all of this stuff, and you're two people with a Foley artist on a stage. Like, with the props and the costumes and stuff, it's very back to basics theatre in a brilliant way, where you can kind of grab anything and reimagine it, isn't it? So can you give us a couple of examples? Perhaps I've seen like cones as parts of dinosaurs, and
yeah, it's very much, I think it's a style of theatre that I think a lot of people aren't very used to. It's not terribly mainstream, but it's so accessible because all this stuff like physical theatre, whether that's mime or clowning, all comes together, and mischief theatre use it all the time. It's stuff that we all kind of know on an innate level because it's just playtime. It's the stuff we do as children, but you elevate it as best you can. I'm looking around me now to see if I can find anything, but I'm in quite a sparse dressing room. But it's finding the right prop. So design wise, it fits in with the world. It can't be too brilliant because it won't look right. It's the found prop. So maybe there's a bit of shrubbery appears, and you're like, this bush, and we can look through there, and making sure it's the right image so the audience understand immediately that obviously this is just a silly woolly hat. But equally,
it's not anymore. It's a bush.
Exactly, it's a bush. So it's, about what helps the story and the narrative, but equally something that is silly and playful enough that it keeps in the right spirit of things.
And I just think that, so I teach drama, and I think that is one of the best skills that you could possibly learn. I mean, if you can do what you're doing, you can go out there and do anything after that. This is the hard stuff. And it's using your imagination and bringing anything to life in a different way. So thank you for that. For all the drama students out there, it's the perfect thing for them to come and watch and learn from. They will learn so much more from that. Now, talking about, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, I recommend it when I speak to people starting out in the industry or they want to go into it. I say, try some clown classes, try doing some physical theatre and all that more European traditional stuff, because it does just help your imagination go off into different parts. And that often, I think, it helps the audience's imaginations function in a way that is exciting for them and for the performers on stage. It's pretty good stuff.
And one other thing as well, that many people might not know what a Foley artist is, but even if they do, will never have come across seeing one live. So can you just explain for anyone who might not know what a Foley artist is and what they do?
Yeah, so a Foley artist traditionally, as you say, works unseen, whether it's in radio or film or TV, and they provide the sound effects. And the sound effects can be vocal or physical, but equally they could be something they've found. So I think people have seen. I think I can't remember the effect, but it's like dropping a watermelon and breaking it is the perfect sound for something else. or like could be a book, but it's a Wallace or something. So finding the right quality of sound that is believable enough, but also isn't as expensive as having all of the actual things. I don't know, like in movies, like I don't know, a machine gun is replaced by the sound of. I think one movie they had a door closing slowly, and then they reversed the sound, and it sounded more like a machine gun, but they didn't have to fire a gun; they just closed the door and do that. So it's playing with sound effects essentially.
It's so clever. Have there been any that have surprised you as you've been doing this?
Yeah. I'm desperately now trying to think of the odds. But I know there have been times on stage where I'll mime something, and then Charlie makes the perfect noise for it, and it wasn't something we'd rehearsed, and it's oh, well done, okay, right, we're doing that now, and it makes its way into the show and play fun. So I think audiences like obviously watch myself doing it, but watch the Foley, because wow, I couldn't even begin to think how to approach playing that.
Yeah, the mind blows as to it must, I guess, always thinking like 5 steps ahead almost, because you can't make the sound after it's happened.
No, exactly, yeah. You're waiting and just watching every moment. And
wow. Yeah. And this is it's all the way through, isn't it? So there's no interval, which is becoming more and more popular, I'm finding. In your case, is it so that it mirrors the movie, whereas there's no interval during a movie, or is it because if you stop halfway through, you're not going to have the energy to start again?
Yeah, there are a couple of times over Christmas we were doing a lot of shows a week, and by the last couple, it's like just keep going. And maybe if there'd been a pause, we'd have just wanted to stay sitting down having a cup of tea or something. But no, I think it's much more about feeling like a cinema experience. Yeah. We've got a couple of trailers beforehand that we've made specially, just to make it really feel like it's a live cinema experience. And that's brilliant. I think helps.
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be like little trailers as well. That's brilliant.
Oh, maybe they're spoilers. I don't know. Huh?
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. And the physical side of it. So I've just touched on kind of the energy that you need there, and even like creating characters. Like you're not just doing a dinosaur; you're doing loads of different species of dinosaur. I mean, do you just have to start workshopping and see what comes out of it, or like how do you begin?
Well, it's a kind of working with the director who is absolutely phenomenal, and working with them to try and find the physical language. It's like obviously, we're just the size and shape we are with vocal qualities. So what is the quality that tells the audience, what dinosaur you are? So obviously, you've got T-Rex is very small arms but very powerful. So is that going to be more like this quality, whereas a Velociraptor faster, different fingers? Obviously, sorry, a bit cramped, but you get the idea. It's finding the right quality that is that creature as best we can do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating, and this has all been the brainchild of Cutback Theatre. So tell us a little bit about them and kind of what they're about.
So they're an American company, started in New York, and they made this show as one of their first. They do loads of it's physical theatre. So there's lots of mime incorporated in there. A few parodies. They're hoping to bring over another very big franchise movie next year. I think that's the plan. I'm not entirely sure. But it's kind of about giving the audience the most joyful experience. Even if it's in a more dramatic, serious story, it's uplifting. And I think certainly, one of the reasons this show's been so successful is that, things are, when you read the news and all that, they feel frequently quite bleak and upsetting. And, our function as artists in theatre is to give people either another view or to hold the mirror up, but also to entertain and uplift where we can. Certainly, I think Mischief have really helped with that, and recent cutbacks are doing a similar thing. Like we don't punch down. Everything's got to be for joy, because this is a comedy company, so it is joyful and giving people the right experience, so they have fun. So I'm repeating the same sentence over and over, but it's really important.
That's what it is. Yeah. Well, I mean, there you have it. If there's no more reason to come and watch, A, you love Jurassic Park, who doesn't, dinosaurs, and B, for a company that are producing just joyful theatre that is, like you say, it's not interactive, but the audience are completely involved. They're not just passive. It sounds brilliant. Jack, thank you so much for your time and for your demonstrations as well, which have been brilliant. You can catch Jack in Hold On To Your Butts at the Lowry. Come along, and I'm sorry I've got to do this. It is going to be awesome. Had to. Thank you so much, Jack, and we will see you there.
65 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled the earth. 30 years ago, a movie about dinosaurs ruled the box office. Now, two idiots and a Foley artist perform a live shot-for-shot parody of the greatest film in cinema history. Get ready for butts. Hold on to your butts.